Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello dear friends, welcome back to Spiritism and the Media here on Kardec Radio. Today I will bring again the book The Spirits Review 1859 by Allan Kardec. And last week we started this text. It is from November 1859. Should we publish everything the spirits say? So as I said, there are many pages here for us to study. So I started last week. We saw a little bit that basically the spirits are the same like incarnate and discarnate. It's not because we discarnate that we become angels. So we need to be aware, because the same way that we have good spirits in the spirit realm, we have also those lower spirits who could give us messages not that good. And we talked a little bit how to compare that to our communications here on earth from us incarnate spirits, that at the same time we do have good and bad communications, and to be aware before believing in those communications and spreading, and also to analyze the communications that we receive, no matter they are from incarnate or discarnate spirits. So let's see what else Kardec brings here to us. So he says here, since these beings have a patent mean of communicating with human beings and expressing their thoughts through intelligible signs, their communications must effectively be the reflex of their feelings, quality, and vices. The communications could be, depending on the character and elevation of the spirits, frivolous, trivial, gross, and even obscene, or marked by the intellectual elevation, wisdom, and sublimity. So depending on the spirit that communicates with us, we can see if that communication is good, is bad, because it will bring the feelings that the spirit has with itself. So we can feel that through the words or through the way that the spirit communicates with us. So he says they reveal themselves by their own language. That is why one should not blindly accept everything that comes from the occult world, submitting everything to a strict control. A not very constructive collection could build up from the communications of certain spirits, in the same way that it could be built from the speeches of certain people. So basically he's saying, okay, the same way that let's suppose if we receive 10, 20, 30 messages, 30 communications from a certain spirit, we think that that spirit is a good one, is an elevated one, and we do not analyze those messages and we publish that, we may be deceiving ourselves and others who are going to read those messages. The same way here, that if we have some speeches here of some persons here on earth, and if we publish those speeches, especially today, we can see how many hate speeches with those hate languages, racisms and prejudices, they are spreading here because people maybe feel like it's easier to spread through social media, through mass media too. So we can easily see that. And the same way that those messages, they spread here on earth, we need to be aware to see if we are not bringing those communications from the spirits in the spiritual world and spreading them as well. And he gives an example here. He says, we have before our eyes a small English book published in the USA, which demonstrates that fact. One can say that a lady would not recommend it as a reading to her daughter. For the same reason, we do not recommend to our readers. So the same way, it's not because a book is from a spirit that we need to recommend that we need to put that for sale in a spirit center. For example, we need to analyze that, because there are books, there have some hidden messages, some messages that are not going to make people feel well. They're not going to help us here on earth. So we need to analyze that. It's not because because especially today, it's so easy to publish books today that it's anyone can go and publish a book by themselves. So we need to analyze that to see if it is really a good book, a good reading or not. And he says here, there are people who find it funny and entertaining. May they enjoy it in their intimacy, but keep it to themselves. What is even less conceivable is the fact that they brag about receiving such inappropriate communications. This is always a sign of sympathies that should not be a reason for pride, particularly when these communications are spontaneous and persistent and happens to certain persons. Because if a person is receiving those communications, those frivolous communications, and this person is enjoying that, what can we expect that this person is going to receive more and more communications like that? So, because the person is connecting with those spirits, they have the same tastes. Let's suppose, for example, if I read a kind of book here and I enjoy the book, what happens? Probably I will buy more of those kinds of book. The same happen if I receive a communication from a spirit and I enjoy that, there are going to be more communications available for me. Those spirits will be around me, giving me those communications. And when we say here communications, it many times can be inspirations, can be some thoughts, ideas that come to our mind. If we enjoy that, we are feeding those spirits around us, and we are going to receive more and more ideas, more and more thoughts like that one. And so Kardec says here, this does not absolutely allow us to pass hasty judgment on their current morality, for we know persons afflicted by that kind of obsession that by no means represent their character. So it doesn't mean that if a person is receiving those communications, is the person is like connected because they want, maybe they are being obsessed, but there are many variations here that we need to analyze and to be aware of. And he says, however, as all effects, this one may also have a cause, and if we cannot find it in the present, we must look for it in previous existence. So he keeps on telling a little bit about those kinds of communications and those connections with the spirits. Let me now see another part here of the book, of this text, when he says here, to begin with, those publications have the inconvenience of leading to mistakes, persons who are not in a position to examine them, discerning between true and false, particularly in such a new subject as Spiritism. So he's saying here, if I'm spreading a communication, and that we can bring the example for us here today in the incarnate world, in the physical world, with this communication that we receive here from incarnate spirits, from us. If I receive a communications and I spread that, maybe someone will receive that and we think, okay, because Marcelo sent, it is good because maybe I like what Marcelo says. So that person will immediately read that message without analyzing, or maybe the person doesn't know very well how to analyze that, but he knows that if I send that message, maybe it's good. And that's where it's the danger, because if we do not analyze, if I just receive and send a message to another person without analyzing that, how many people may are hurt with those bad messages. So it's something that we may have in our mind, that we are responsible of anything that we spread. So if I'm spreading a message, I'm spreading a communication, a video, an audio, I need to read that, I need to analyze that, and I need to certify that that is a good message before I send it to other people. And so I bring here just now the last paragraph for us to see here, for us to analyze. So Kardec says, publishing everything that comes from that source without examination or correction, in our opinion, is to give proof of a lack of discernment. That is at least our personal opinion, that we will submit to the appreciation of those who, uninterestedly by the question, can impartially judge, keeping aside any personal consideration. So if I'm not sure if it is a good or bad message, maybe I send a message to a third person, someone who is not connected to me or to the one who received the message, or if it is in the Spirit Center, maybe someone outside the Spirit Center, so from a message from the Spirit, so that person can analyze in an impartial way. And as everyone else, we have the right of expressing our thoughts about the science which is object of our studies, treating it our own way, not pretending to impose our ideas to whoever it may be, nor treating them as bylaws. Those who share our opinion do so because they believe, as we do, that we are with the truth. The future will tell who is right and who is wrong. So I think that's what's important for us, to always analyze, to always see what we receive, no matter if it is from the incarnate spirits, from the discarnate spirits, before spreading, because we are responsible for anything that we send to others. So let's analyze, so we will not send bad messages that may hurt other people and society itself. So let's read a text from The Happy Life by Joana de Angelis through Divaldo Franco to finish here our meeting. So number 10, organize your schedule so that you can spend your time appropriately. Every task must be seen to at the right time. Disorganization in carrying it out not only harms its order, but compromises its quality. Perform your duties calmly and uninterruptedly, one after the other. Thank you so much for your company. May God bless all of us. See you next week.